Hey guys, welcome to your Max Seller Friday. Yeah, I was gonna welcome to the Max Seller Monday, but today is Friday in your Max Seller Week, and we call it the Max Seller Week because Max is maximum and allure is attracting. So we want you to attract maximum success, be with people that you like, surround yourself with people that are gonna help you bring you to the next level, and you're gonna help them do that for themselves as well. So that's the Max Seller, and that's why we've named our Max Seller Mastermind that way. I'm Dr. Myrdalis Diaz-Ramirez, creator of that Max Seller Mastermind, and also of the podcast Design Your Physician Life, which went out this last Tuesday. And I want to talk to you about that topic because it was a very important topic that us as physicians need to learn about. And we kind of learn a lot and don't learn much at the same time. We had the wonderful Dr. Asha Padmanabhan on Tuesday talking to us about her experience, about how you can achieve to be that leader that you're meant to be, and her journey. So in her journey, you can actually, thank you Kate, she's put it here in the links. You can go to that podcast. Please go and listen to it. She gives us wonderful pearls within her story, and she tells us how she helps others achieve the same thing. A fellow anesthesiologist, and I'm an anesthesiologist too. She is now in positions where she's leading state societies, the Florida Society of Anesthesiologists, so she's president-elect, so congratulations on that. But as she tells us, it hasn't been easy. There has been a lot that she has to deal with. One is training herself for that position of leadership. And in medicine, one thing that happens to us is that we're immediately put in these positions of being the leaders, being the captain of the ship, but we don't necessarily have the tools, we're not given them, and we might come actually ill-prepared many times for those positions of leadership. I remember myself being in my internship. I was very fortunate to be in an internship, which was an anesthesiology internship, and it was great because we were able to learn to be assertive in so many ways, but in so many ways, when I was put in those positions where I was the one in charge of many things, there were people in the room who really had a lot of more experience, and maybe they would have been the best ones at preparing the room for a better and quicker patient outcome that maybe I was at that time in that position, and maybe not having somebody there to mentor me as much as I would have liked at that time. And things have changed in the way that we do things, especially in anesthesiology, that it's a medical career of systems, and I really like that we have that, a lot of checkups, and bringing that technology from, or those thoughts from even like being a pilot of a plane, and bringing all that to make sure that things are safe in the OR, and how you can lead the teams in the OR and co-lead with your surgeon to be able to provide great care for that patient. But still we have certain challenges in terms of our relationships with others, in terms of making sure that everybody goes through the same vision. And we want to discuss some of those things from our experience, from other places that we've gathered experience. And Dr. Padmanabhan was able to do that greatly this week. So go and listen to that podcast from Design Your Physician Life. One of the things that she talked about when we were asking her about some tips, it's about taking things personally. And as physicians, we are used to, we have this training, and we have spent so many hours, and we have so much knowledge up here about we think that things should be. But there's a lot of barriers that can come between what we think should be right and what the care of the patient is actually, we want to deliver. There's a lot of barriers there. So learning to not take things personally is one of the things that she told us first, and not only in the patient care, but in our relationships that we have through our life. And we're talking here about the business, so in entrepreneurship, that's going to be something very important. Also, we talked about the win-win situations, and ideally we would like to prepare for a win-win situation. So before going to any negotiation, right, there's books about negotiation that are very famous. You have to think about what the other party wants, right? You have the things that you want to achieve from your point of view, but it might not be aligned with what the other party wants. So you have to come first prepared to that meeting, and then for a win-win. So trying to concede certain things so that everybody's winning, but you also have to prepare for those situations where there's going to be no win-win. So what happens at that point? And that's going to be a very important part of leadership. I had some other podcasts. We had Dr. Nilesh Patel, who was an earlier podcast last year, and we were talking about how in executive management they have a different language, and I've seen that myself. We run clinics, and many times the executive management will have a different language than what we have as physicians that we're used to. And getting that translation is going to be very important. We want the business or an enterprise to succeed. Today I was involved in one of those conversations where we were having, like clashes between the physician component and the management component. We were able to finally build the bridge to where we both understood, say, oh, this is what you're talking about. Okay, well, let's do it this way. But we're not always trained on having that type of conversation, having the patience, having the desire to do these things at times, because we might think, oh, I'm losing my time. But it's in those important conversations that we build our great companies. And I'm going to tell you about a few books that I've been reading and things that we've learned from some of those books. One of John C. Maxwell, very great leadership expert. He has a book that's called What Successful People Know About Leadership. I just recently read that book, and one of the things that he was saying is that you're always learning about leadership. It didn't matter how many years he had been doing that type of work, he was always learning about that. So we have to prepare ourselves to be leaders. We have to recognize that we have areas that we are not great at. I might not be great at communication. I might not be great at listening to others. And we have to first be aware of that and then go ahead and study it. You can study it through coaching, which is one of the most effective ways. Books are certainly a way of coaching and learning. There's a lot of podcasts, and examples about like this conversation we had in our podcast with Dr. Padma Ban on Tuesday, and the one that we're trying to have today. So one of the things that is very, very crucial is to build relationships. And when you're building relationships, it's not only about the monologue. Like right now, I'm giving you a monologue, right? I'm trying to build a different type of relationship, different trust. But if you really want to be in a position of leadership in your companies, in your clinics, whatever you are, you have to actively listen to your members. You have to show genuine interest in their thoughts and concerns. And many times, we feel unheard at times by administration, or we might not be listening to somebody, and we have to recognize and see how we build those relationships. We should be approachable, where people can talk to us about their concerns, and have an open feedback where they don't feel judged, so they feel like in a safe environment, and really have an honest conversation with these people who are surrounding us. We want to really be effective for whatever our goal is. We should invest time in getting to know our team members at a personal level. And I've been in situations where we've been told at work is not where you go to get friendships. But if we spend the time in understanding their strengths, the weaknesses, and the motivations of those who surround us, we're going to be able to understand what moves them. And if we're able to create value for them, we're going to have a stronger team that's going to help us achieve success. So that's a very important part of why building relationships is so important. So I've moved from places where those were not part of the leadership strategies to places where we can bring that and control that experience for others. There are some books that help us about companies that are lasting a very long time and how they do it. I'm just reading right now, I'm in the middle of The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, and I read the Built to Last and Good to Great from Jim Collins. When people ask us, what's a good book for entrepreneurship? Well, it's a collection of books. Like, you were not a good physician with just reading one book. You had to read all about microbiology and anatomy and physiology and all this other stuff. to be able to become a good physician. So the same thing in entrepreneurship and the same thing in leadership. It's not only taking from one leader, you're going to take from many. And in these 3 books, we see different versions of what things have been successful, and creating a great vision for your company is very important. And in the infinite game, the proposal there is that there's companies that are preparing themselves for the short-term game, where they're like maybe only competing with somebody or just having a profit-driven strategy or a vision, rather than seeing things that are going to help everybody in the company succeed, want to be part of that, and then bring it for the just cause, what he calls. And clearly articulating your vision and your goals for the team is going to be very important. You're going to be measuring everything that you do in your company against that vision, against your values that you have for your company. You should ensure that everybody there understands the direction and purpose, giving them purpose. You know, like, I'm selling this pencil, and what are you doing? Are you selling pencils and you want to sell so many pencils? Or are you selling dreams for people, right? I would say that these pencils will allow people to write their dreams. They will allow them to document their lives, right? So if you sell dreams and transformations, and you have a vision of what you could do with the pencil, for example, then that's going to be more purposeful for the people who are working behind you. So the team members should be involved in that vision setting process. You encourage them. And then they will come back with ideas and input of what can be done. You know what? Hey, hi, Mohammed. So talking about a pencil, they would come, you know what, I think people can achieve this particular dream with a pencil, and then it becomes part of what their involvement is, you know, and it trickles down through the whole company. Another thing that we can do in leadership is, you know, ways to empower others. And we can do that, as I said, through that vision and building relationships. But once we achieve that and we're engaging really with others, we should delegate tasks to them and responsibilities to the team members, and provide them with the autonomy to be able to make decisions and solve problems, because they want ownership. And we give them ownership of things, they feel like they're contributing to that vision, that they have a great relationship with you, and they will do anything that, you know, for your success, personal success, and the success of the company. So offering support and resources to help them develop their skills and grow them professionally, grow them as, you know, as if they're gonna leave, but not wanting them to leave. But you have to help them be the best that they can. If you help them be the best that they can, you're gonna create loyalty for you. You have to recognize the team members' achievements, and this is something that has changed from generation to generation, right? We have the boomers' way of recognizing achievement is different from the millennials' way, and different from any other generation, right? We have changed from, I remember, like, you know, you would have somebody who was at the top once a year, and then now you have like the student of the week, and then you have different ways. So you have to be conscious of what's happening in terms of generation and the expectations, and bridge that gap, so that if I was going to be in charge of a huge company more than what I am right now, then I would really have to take that into, you know, like my one of the very first steps. And we should highlight the contributions to the success of the team as their leaders. One of the things that is also of utmost importance is, like, we're doing leadership, and we cannot do leadership without a backup of our example. We have to be the example for our people, and we have to demonstrate integrity, ethical behaviors in all that we said. We have to set an example. It's like, how do people say? It's like, don't do as I do, do as I say. Well, that doesn't really match. You should really do as I do, because I'm being setting the example so that you can succeed with me. I'm gonna take you there, and you will know how to get there, and you know that you can get there because you have somebody who has done it, and so can you. So you should be accountable for your decisions and your actions, admitting your mistakes and learning from them. You should show commitment and dedication to your team's goals, and work hard and stay on focus to achieve those results. Achieving priorities for the team is going to be very important. You know, as part of a team, you're going to have people who have so many ideas, and we have to have that vision where, you know, our goals are to be doing this, and whatever we bring to the table should be in support of those goals. And when we bring to the table, then we have to organize them by priorities. What are we going to do so that we can get to the next level? And then whatever you have, okay, you brought a wonderful idea, let's put them here. These were the wonderful ideas live for putting them in the horizon, and we're working on this. And then we have that pipeline building from the contributions of our employees. One last thing I'm going to be mentioning is continuous learning and adaptability. And as John Maxwell said, this was a life work for him. It's something that you have to continue doing. We grow from each other. There's always new ideas, new ways of communication. People evolve. And right now, when we have these, for example, these Chat GPT and all these AI tools that we have, they're going to help us being better leaders. And as leaders, we have to stay ahead of the curve, right? To help our vision. And if our vision has to change and be adapted, we have to do that and be able to transmit that through our whole organization. We should seek opportunities for personal and professional growth, not only giving that to our people, but also for ourselves. Definitely staying up to date in our industry trends and best practices, and maybe even ahead, right, of what's happening. That's what the leader does. Like, they see what will happen, and then we try to prevent a disaster and try to create opportunities for our team. We should encourage a culture of learning within the team, promoting knowledge and sharing collaboration. Like, once you have something that is done here, it belongs to all of us, and we all should grow together and take advantage of that opportunity of information. The last thing I'm going to mention is, like, be open to change and adapt the leadership style as needed. And I have to tell you personally, I've had challenges because I'm definitely, when I'm working, I'm very decisive, and this is how things are done, and this is how I see it. Like, to me, it's so clear in my brain, and things have to be done this way or that way. But dealing with other leaders themselves, that communication, it has to evolve, it has to change, and we should really respond effectively to all those new challenges and opportunities we have with communication, with situations, with products, with services, with whatever it is. So that's been a few words right now on leadership. I hope that you've learned something today, or if not, it's been a great review. We have great books that we've mentioned here that I recommend that you go and review if you have read them before, or you consider reading regarding leadership. Go and take a look, listen to our podcast, Design Your Physician Life, where we had that wonderful podcast with Dr. Asha Padmanabhan released this last Tuesday. And check out our website, maxceller.com. We're going to be coming up with our next cohort for physicians. We only take 10 physicians. So if you're interested, reach out to us. I hope that you have a wonderful day, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you then next time.